Essay: Let Furman reign over Gregg. I would like to say from the outset, I support the concept of the death penalty. If someone commits a vicious crime where a life is lost, then in a perfect world where our legal system is flawless, that person should be put to death. It is a matter of being consistent. If a loved one of mine was murdered, I would want that person executed anon. But we do not live in a perfect world. What God has established may be perfect. What man has established can never be perfect, including his legal system. If we as a society institute the death penalty as a proper means for punishing miscreants whose crimes go beyond the pale, then the system must get it right every time. Meaning, if we execute 100 people, and we later discover one of those 100 was innocent, then the state has no business putting anybody to death. One mistake is one too many. And there is that possibility that mistakes have occurred because the death penalty is a man-made system, which naturally makes it flawed. Some of these flaws in our legal system are intentional, such as racism, and some are beyond man's control. Yet, this does not prevent advocates from clamoring for an imperfect method of putting people to death. Proponents of the death penalty make the callous argument that there is absolutely no evidence of an innocent person ever being executed in this country. Instead of engaging in a circular argument, I will take a logical approach for why the death penalty should be rendered defunct. For the sake of argument, let us pretend that there is no evidence confirming anyone wrongly being executed by the state, as supporters contend. The practice of state-sanctioned execution should still be brought to an immediate end because of the likelihood. Yes, the possibility alone should necessitate an alternative to the death penalty. If I have never flown in an airplane, then it is impossible for me to ever have been in a plane crash. The day I step onto a plane and it takes off, the possibility now exists that I could have met my demise in a plane crash. If I have never swam in an open body of water, then it is impossible for me to ever have been attacked by a shark. Once I swim in an open body of water, then the possibility exists that I could have been assailed by a shark. Now, it should be quite obvious where I am going with this argument. If an innocent person has ever spent time on death row, then it is possible for an innocent person to have been executed. And the possibility alone should be enough to end the practice of executing all prisoners incarcerated for crimes that warrant the death penalty under the current system. No one can argue that innocent people have not spent time on death row. The facts are the facts. In many states, such as Illinois, innocent victims of the legal system were mistakenly convicted and sent to death row, many coming within hours of losing their lives. How can we be sure all who resided on death row were rescued? We do not. Only God knows. It would speak volumes to the barbaric nature of a people who would knowingly maintain the death penalty when they have discerned that innocent people have been executed. But I would like to conclude by posing this question. What does it say about a people who can live with the possibility hanging over their heads that innocent people were executed or could be? We must come up with a sure system to make sure not one innocent person is ever executed in this country. And the only way we can do that will be to end the practice of putting anybody to death.